Howdy y'all. We're about to show you our method for trying to protect our straw bale walls from the weather until we get a chance to plaster them. But before we get into the video, I just wanted to ask you to listen real close and see if you can tell whether or not Pam is worried about the audio quality of the footage in this video. It's super subtle, but see if you can pick up on it.
It's windy, so you may have to do a voice over. Do you want? Oh yeah, this is gonna be windy.
Like I said,
you're probably gonna have to. This is gonna be super windy, so it's too windy, so you're gonna have to voice over this anyway. Hey, this is all gonna be so windy, you're gonna have to do a voiceover anyway. I am in the house right now. It is very windy, so we may have to do a voiceover. But I'm gonna show what Brian is removing these tarps because he's going to cover these on the outside with this stuff, what he did here. Because the tarps are blowing away and they cover the windows and then that makes a big suction, and so this is what he's doing. Let me show you up close here what he did. He's a genius. Hi, I'm Brian. It's windy, so we got our cutting station there for plastic.
Oh yeah.
And
so to keep the plastic set away from the bales a little bit, these are the 2x4s that I use to brace the window bucks. So I'm going to cut them in half. I'm going to rip them down the middle, and they'll make, that wide. And I'll just kind of wrap the plastic around the edge of it and attach that to one buck before a bale, and another one at the other side, and wrap the plastic around it and stretch the plastic across the bales, and it'll be set away from the bales by 1 3/4 inches.
I got to be honest, that was terrifying.
So this is my roll of plastic. It's actually 10 feet wide, but it's folded up so they can ship it easier.
Right.
So it'll open up, but I'm cutting it folded. So what I've done is I've measured the space that I want to cover of bales, and I've added enough to wrap around those 2x4s that I cut. So I've added extra, and that's what I'm cutting right now. Nothing special, just cutting it with scissors. It's just 6 mil plastic.
I just ate some really hot salsa, so
Awesome.
you may have to do a voice over. Do you want me to step on this? It's kind of windy.
No, it's good.
It's getting chilly
So,
once that sun goes behind
the
the
next part, I don't know if we'll videotape, it's not real pretty, but that's my piece now. So I open it up. You showed this over here.
Yeah, we had a piece blow away a minute ago.
We might not show me doing this because it's not real easy. It might take a minute, especially with a little bit of wind, but the idea is I lay it out between these two 2x4s.
Oh, because those are the 2x4s that he just cut in half.
These are the 2x4s that I just cut. And I'm gonna,
oh yeah, this is gonna be
like I
windy,
said,
Brian.
I made it long enough that it has enough to wrap around the 2x4s and cover that space. So I'm gonna wrap it around the 2x4. So as I wrap it around the 2x4s, I'm stapling it.
Oh, okay. Oh, and you stapled your finger by accident?
Yeah, it hurt.
A little bit.
This is,
He cried about it for a while.
not any fun.
You're probably gonna have to. This is gonna be super windy, so. Oh, I need a jacket now. Once that sun goes. Took me by the hand, made me a man that one night. It's too windy, so you're gonna have to voice over this anyway. You made everything all right.
I'm not even sure if I can do this.
Is that enough? Is this what you're talking about isn't pretty?
Yeah, it's not easy, but
Also, you're in shadow now because all of that stuff out there is in the sun, and you're in the shadow.
You're in shadow.
You're in shadow.
You're in shadow. So I've already done that side. I just kind of wrapped it around that 2x4. 2x4.
2x4.
Half a 2x4.
2x4.
And now I'm doing the other side. I was kind of wrapping it a couple of times.
So you decided to put your thumb underneath there when you did it once?
No, my finger.
It's not funny. I'm laughing because you said, no, my finger. Why'd you do that? My dad used to say, why'd you do that? Did you think that was going to feel good? You see why I'm like I am?
What do you mean, bad jokes? Yeah, I see.
Bad jokes. Hey, this is all going to be so windy, you're going to have to do a voiceover anyway. But at least I'll have you doing something. That looks fun.
These staples don't always work real great. I've never found a stapling mechanism that actually works real well. This thing does better than a staple gun, but it just seems like every other staple doesn't even go in all the way. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna roll it one more time, and that is the gap I want to. Whoops. I unrolled that a little bit, but
all right.
that wasn't supposed to happen. What do I do? That's this and this. So I'll take these over here. To start, I'm going to clamp this into place. So those 2x4s that I cut are supposed to attach to the bucks. So. Okay. And so, are you taping?
Yeah.
So this is an 8-foot tall wall. The plastic was 10 feet. The first one I made, I cut the plastic to 8 feet, and I think that was a mistake actually, because I think I want to take the extra plastic and kind of fold it in over the box beam and everything too.
Yeah.
So on this low side, it's not very likely to get water in there, but on the higher side, there is room for water to get in. So
you're
I'm gonna leave the extra.
You're tacking it with those what are those nail things called?
Well, I'm gonna screw these 2x4 pieces in to attach to the buck. So I start by screwing those in, and then I staple up at the top, and then I use those cap nails, the same stuff I used on the paper on the top.
Cap nails, that's what I was.
So it's just they have a cap on top of them so that there's more surface area so that the paper doesn't rip. If you just use a staple, that paper would rip right through the staple. So.
All right.
So you see how with that piece of 2x4, this plastic is separated from the bales by half a 2x4.
Yeah, so that way air can flow through.
Yeah. So yes,
condensate.
Of course, sun's not going to hit this because we're on the north side here, but on the south side, when sun hits this in the morning and it's cold and the sun hits it, it's probably going to get all wet, but it'll drip down and it should not soak into the bales.
It might not, since there's a roof covering it.
Well, it won't be too bad, but
it's kind of like trial and error, right? Right now, we ain't ever done this before. We ain't never built a house before. What are you doing?
But you were talking about, you said there wasn't anything, you didn't see a lot of stuff out there on YouTube about covering bales?
Right.
When they're on the house?
Yes, this is a great idea. Because I found...
bales when they're on the house, in my opinion...
Protecting bales when they're on the
Now,
house.
I haven't seen this. I don't know exactly how this is going to handle the wind. I hope the wind isn't going to do much because I'm not covering any kind of open space, but the fact that it is separated a little bit means the wind could kind of get up under and sort of, but I'm hoping it'll stand up to the wind, but if it does stand up to the wind, then it should be a really good covering for the bales when they're in place.
And that's a fairly cheap covering.
Oh yeah, that whole thing of plastic was like 50 bucks.
Wow, what a beautiful day. Brian's covering the house with the wrap, and he's got all the tarps off, and I noticed that this same hawk has been coming here every day, and it sits up there. I hope you can see it. I got my spyglass and looked at it, and it's so cool. It looks like it's probably about 2 feet tall. It's pretty cool.
Those corner boards.
So Brian's over here. Brian is over here setting up some pieces of wood so we can actually. Why don't you just tell me what you're doing?
These are spacers to keep the plastic kind of a little bit off the bales. This wasn't necessary on any other spot because this stretch is so long, I'm using the little cheater bucks that I put in, which aren't really bucks, but
okay.
But I'm using those wood sections to put in spacers.
But this will show what you can do on a long stretch if you have a big long stretch, because this was the only stretch that we had that was a big long stretch.
Yeah, the other ones were pretty short.
Are we ready to start moving this big piece of
We're
plastic?
about ready. Let me get this set up. I'm going to start. The first section I'll do is right here. The first connection I'll do is
We got our big piece of plastic right there.
I don't know how well this is going to go. That thing's going to be a little awkward, but
right.
we'll see. I just have to get the one end attached here, and then we'll stretch it around. But we have to put these corner pieces in place while we do it.
Huh. Okay.
This is, this procedure is the same as I've done on all the other ones, and I've even done 2 other corners, but I've never done one this long. So I don't know if it's going to get ugly.
We ain't never done this before. Could get ugly. All right. Hey, say what you just did there. You did a cut, and now it covers the box beam a little bit.
Yeah, so I cut it, and I'm going to fold it over, and not only is it going to protect this, but it's going to protect this box beam from getting all wet, because rain could definitely make it in here.
Yeah, we get sideways rains, and come March, the March winds come, and they blow until June.
Okay, coming out there now. Okay guys, so here's the plastic sheeting all pretty much finished up over the bales. I've gotten obviously all the kind of outer sections, and that was the key. Here's the biggie, of course. This one stretch that has no windows or doors. So the idea was to not cover, openings, right? Because when we have the tarps covering those, the wind just grabs those and just goes crazy with tarps or plastic. So I tried to cover just the sections that are closed in, and I tried to kind of set the plastic off of the bales a little bit by using some old 2x4s ripped in half to kind of give us a little spacing so that the plastic isn't right up stuck against the bales. It's got room to breathe there. So hopefully, if and when this forms any condensation on here, it'll just drop down and not really
be right up against the bales and soak into them. So that was the idea behind all this. I think it's looking pretty good. I've gone all the way around. So of course, the reason I say mostly finished is obviously if it rains, you know, if there's any wind or anything, right, the rain can definitely get to kind of these edges too, these sides at the openings, the windows and doors. So I'm probably going to do a little more plastic, but I won't be as, you know, meticulous about it as I was out here. And plus there'll be air gaps created kind of naturally because of the way that it'll have to attach here. So, and it's much smaller. So I'll just throw some plastic over these as well to try and protect these from kind of driven rain, blowing rain. So I've still got a little more work to do, but this was obviously the major portions of it. I used the excess, you know, the roll of plastic gave me a 10-foot long piece of plastic, and these walls are only 8 feet tall, so I used the extra 2 feet to kind of wrap over and to cover the box beam as well, because everywhere but maybe the lower side over there, the lower side, probably the overhang, it'd be really tough for rain to get in under there. But on this higher side and along the sides, you know, it would be pretty easy for the rain to kind of get in and sort of want to pool up inside the top of that box beam, because it's open on top, right? There's plywood on the bottom, but the top of it is actually open. So water would almost sort of pool in there, so I don't want that. So I took the excess plastic and wrapped it over, and I will, at the places where I don't have plastic right now, I'll probably add another, much like these sides, I'll add another strip on top of that box beam just to keep the box beam from getting a bunch of water in it. Obviously some of this wood will get hit with rain if it rains, but we're in our winter season. We shouldn't have a lot of rain or a lot of hard rain coming at us, so I think we're going to have a chance to get to plaster and fill all these things in. You know, the idea is to fill all this stuff in before another monsoon season, of course. So we've got a good 6 months before that happens. So the idea is not to have to need this plastic for that long, but it definitely could serve us over the next couple of months, maybe. So that's the idea. We're covered all the way around. Like I said, I'll just hit I'll hit the box beam portion and the window and door openings on the sides a little bit. They're just slightly exposed. I mean, they're not going to get hammered, but they definitely can get wet. So I should close them up too. But I think it ended up looking pretty good, and it's pretty tight. And I think so far, I think it will handle the wind all right, and I think it should handle kind of condensation as far as not wanting to kind of trap condensation up against the bales. At least I hope. I should note that when I went around the corners, you know, so I've set the bale, so in just a flat section like this, say, so those little 2x4s that I ripped in half, that's enough to kind of, when I stretch it across here, it keeps the plastic off of the bales. Well, that's not true when I turn a corner. So at the corners, I actually took 2x4s and made kind of a 2x4 corner and just set that there, took the plastic around it, and just used the plastic to kind of hold it tight. This set of 2x4s isn't held on by anything. It's just kind of set there, and the plastic wrapped around it is what's keeping it kind of pressed. So it's just giving me a little bit of a corner so that, one, I don't kind of get poked by the bales, by the straw bales through the plastic, and two, to kind of maintain that spacing of the plastic away from the bales. So if I had just wrapped the corner, it would have just laid against the bales, and again, condensation, maybe there'd be a decent amount of condensation that might soak into the bales, so I tried to avoid that. So the corners have a little more added to kind of make that work. But other than that, that's it. I think it looks pretty nice, and I think it'll hold up for a while, so fingers crossed. All right, on to the next.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching.
If you liked what you saw, please hit that thumbs up button and consider subscribing or sharing with a friend. And click the bell notification so you never miss any of our videos.
We really appreciate every view and comment. And if you're looking for other ways to support us, please check out the links in the description box.
See you in the next video.